This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Until yesterday. But it is vital that he ride into battle on horseback. Just 1 year ago, he was the officer who fired the first shot in the war between the British and the French. The volley fired by a young Virginian in the backwoods of America set the world on fire, is how one British historian will describe the incident. Indeed, Washington's decision to attack a small French scouting party, killing all of its soldiers, will launch what will become known as history's First World War. In time, the fighting will spread far beyond North America into Europe, Africa, and even India. But that moment of impulse eventually led to public disgrace. Soon after the skirmish, Washington suffered the humiliation of surrendering his Virginia militia to the French at a battlefield not far from here, known as Fort Necessity. In order to avoid a wider war, the French allowed Washington and his men to return home, but the stigma of failure still hangs over the ambitious former surveyor. He has returned to this forest as a volunteer, seeking redemption by using his knowledge of the lush woodland trails to assist the British commander, General Edward Braddock. Unbeknownst to George Washington, however, the battle he seeks will not take place tomorrow. It's happening right now. 300 miles away in Philadelphia, 49-year-old Benjamin Franklin sits naked in his bedroom. He's reading a book with the windows wide open while enjoying the rejuvenation of his daily air bath. Franklin eagerly awaits word of the British Army's great victory, for the French presence in the Ohio River Valley not only blocks America's westward expansion, but also threatens the safety of the existing American colonies. Franklin is not alone. From Virginia to Boston, General Braddock's campaign is a cause célèbre. The French and British have been at odds in Europe for centuries. Now their rivalry is shifting to North America. It was the British who first established a string of colonies up and down the Atlantic seaboard, but the French were not easily outdone, settling land west of the Appalachian Mountains. They call this thinly populated region New France. Beginning in Canada, the territory extends from the Great Lakes south through the Mississippi Valley, all the way to the region on the Gulf of Mexico known as Louisiana. The border between the French and British colonies is poorly defined. One region in particular, the Ohio River Valley, is highly coveted by the British as a means of expanding their sphere of influence. General Braddock has been sent to America with the singular purpose of taking possession of this land. But there is also a more tactical reason for the impending battle. The French soldiers in the Ohio River Valley are limited to the garrison at Fort Duquesne. They are in a defensive stance right now, dedicated to keeping the British contained on the coast. But in time, Fort Duquesne could serve as a jumping-off point for a French assault on the British colonies themselves. If that happens, their Indian allies will be free to loot and pillage colonial farms and towns. Fears of the French and Indians sweeping into Pennsylvania and Virginia have churchgoers ardently praying for the general success against our neighboring enemies. Many colonists are so confident of Braddock's abilities that toasts to his victory have already been raised throughout the colonies. Benjamin Franklin, however, is not ready to celebrate. The balding postmaster is a few inches short of 6 feet tall, with broad shoulders and what many consider a very large head. He has been in a common-law marriage for 25 years to Deborah Read, a buxom beauty 2 years his junior. He sired an illegitimate son with another woman before their union, and Deborah has given birth to 2 children, one of whom died from smallpox at the age of 4. The gray-eyed Franklin favors a vegetarian diet and appears portly, but is in fact muscular due to his passion for swimming. He's an inventor, writer, firefighter, publisher, postmaster, and scientist. But most of all, Benjamin Franklin is patriotic for a nation that does not yet exist. Franklin's current focus is protecting America from the growing French threat. He seeks to form a union of the colonies that will provide this protection. But instead of seeing him as an ally, the British see him as a gadfly. His efforts to meet with the Iroquois Indians to broker a peace are viewed as interfering with the power of the king. Despite British animosity, Franklin's ingenuity saved General Braddock's expedition in April when the general himself declared that he could not proceed into the Ohio River Valley due to a lack of wagons and drivers for hauling the food and munitions vital to supplying his army. Franklin and Braddock met in person in late April, just days before George Washington joined the British cause.